Pat Gallen here at the NovaCare Complex with ESP. Eliot Shorr-Parks from 94 WIP. Eliot, today on your station, Jason Kelsey with the morning show talked about the Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown situation, and he likened it to something he dealt with early in his career, his relationship with Lane Johnson. And he said one off season, they didn't speak at all because of a back and forth through the media. And I found it interesting, and I always find it interesting when Jason Kelsey talks about this because he's such a wealth of knowledge. What did you take from that conversation?
Yeah, leave it to Jason Kelsey to put everything in perfect perspective, right? I think the real message from this is, obviously this is about Jalen and A.J., and that's why he's asked about it, that's why we're talking about it. But the other lesson from what Jason said is there are so many interworking dynamics and relationships in that building we have no idea about. We're here every single day. I like to think we're informed about the team.
Sure.
There's tons of things in there that we don't know. So we know Jalen and A.J. seem to be going through something. We know that they seem to be not as close as friends they used to be. We don't know if all the offensive linemen are actually friends. We don't know if there's two players in there that maybe can't even stand the sight of each other. But they keep winning. They keep going to Super Bowls. I think, like I said, they got a good shot at going this year. I think they are going. And when Jason points that out, what the real message is things happen on teams and they win anyway.
There's no doubt about that. Teams 8-2.
Yeah.
That should be celebrated, but obviously we understand why this dynamic, this, relationship between Hurts and Brown is being talked about as much as it is. Speaking of Lane Johnson, he is out for 4 to 6 weeks, it would appear. Fred Johnson will take over. We heard from him yesterday, but how big of a loss truly is this?
Lane Johnson's a big loss. He's a great player. He's one of the best tackles in the NFL. There's no getting around when he plays, he's really good. But I would say this, Lane Johnson's been in and out of the game pretty frequently this year. He doesn't practice often during the week to preserve his body. And when all week, they prepare as if he's going to be the guy, and then he doesn't play, that hurts them, or he leaves after a quarter. So Fred Johnson, he himself would tell you, is not the player that Lane Johnson is. But I think the benefit of Fred Johnson will be consistency. In theory, he should be out there every snap of the game, and then he'll be out there every snap of the next game, and then the next game. And one thing this offensive line has lacked is consistency, and because of that, they've lacked continuity. So Lane's an unbelievable player. He's a Hall of Fame player, and they struggle when he's out. But I do think the fact he's been in and out this year lessens the blow of losing him.
How critical is it, though, that Howie Roseman made the trade that he did to bring Fred Johnson back from the Jacksonville Jaguars? In the offseason, Fred Johnson, like anyone that is a backup, wanted to become a starter. It didn't happen in Jacksonville, and Howie jumped right on that.
Yeah, there's two things that are really, really hard to do in the NFL. One, find your franchise quarterback, and two, build an offensive line. So the fact that he has offensive line depth really speaks to the job Howie did. Most teams can't field 5 good offensive linemen, let alone have 2 or 3 on the bench that they can count on. And last year, Fred Johnson, when he went in, they went 5-1 in that stretch, and the only one they lost was obviously the one that Jalen didn't finish. So I think Fred will be able to go in and play well. They actually just got through a stretch of really elite edge rushers. That's not so much the case moving forward. So I think they're in good position to weather the storm, and by Howie getting Fred Johnson, it makes it way easier.
We'll talk about the matchup with the Cowboys in just a couple of minutes, but I want to talk about the defense and what we saw these last 2 weeks against the Packers and Lions, and how much of a difference you think Jaelan Phillips and that acquisition has made. What is the cascading effect, as it were, to the defense when adding him?
Yeah, Jaelan Phillips feels like the final piece of the puzzle. I think he's making the picture complete, and he's making it a complete unit that can win this team a Super Bowl. By putting him on the defensive line, he's made everyone better. It makes Nolan Smith's life easier. It makes Jalen Hunt's life easier. It makes the defensive tackles, who have been really good this year, it helps them. Normally, we're used to Jalen Carter having to make everyone better on the line. Now that's Jaelan Phillips. And by the defensive line being one of the best defensive lines in the league all of a sudden, that back 7 is helpful as well. We don't hear us talking about Adoree Jackson as much anymore because the quarterback doesn't have forever to throw. So Jaelan Phillips is just one player. It is the whole unit. But what's nice about the acquisition is just how he's put everything in perfect place for this team to, really go on a Super Bowl run because of this defense.
All right, we talk about the defensive line and how that's changed, but we also would be remiss if we didn't talk about Nakobe Dean and what he's meant to the entire defense as well. Such a great cerebral player. He played at an all-pro level last year, obviously had that key injury, but what is he bringing to the defense now?
Yeah, so Jaelan Phillips made all the pieces fit together. Nakobe Dean makes it a tough picture. It makes it a tough puzzle. It makes it a tough team. Nakobe brings that attitude that I don't think they had early in the year. It's not to say they don't have tough players on the defense, but Nakobe will tell you this himself. When you're a linebacker, you set the tone, and that's especially true when you're right in the middle of that field. So Nakobe has come in since he's been back, and I think he's brought an attitude to the defense. I think he's brought a physicality to the defense, and he certainly has brought a toughness. And the best compliment you can give to Nakobe is he has played, to a certain degree, Jihad Campbell off the field. And that's not even a slight at Jihad. Jihad's played really well, but the snaps speak for themselves. And Vic Fangio, who we know is a great defensive coordinator, knows he needs Nakobe Dean out there, and he's going to stay out there the rest of the season.
If you want to see an amazing highlight package, just go back to the end of that Lions game and see Nakobe Dean do it all. He can blitz. He can cover a running back down the field. He is playing some impressive ball right now. All right, all those names we just mentioned. We did not even mention Quinyon Mitchell, and that's kind of been this entire year. He played near an all-pro level last year, is generally thought of to be one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL, and yet on a daily or weekly basis, we barely say his name. Why is that?
Well, it's because he barely talks, number one.
That's true.
I mean, you're around him. He's a quiet guy. Even when he does talk, he's a man of few words. And normally corners like that aren't that way. We were around Darius Slay, or Big Play Slay, as he likes to be called. He was a talkative guy. He let you know how good he was because he was that good. Quinyon Mitchell is just as good as Slay was. He is a number one outside shutdown corner. And he should not be taken for granted. And the fact that this year, you're right, he's probably not getting the attention he deserves, it's because he's a quiet guy. But on Sunday, he really, really helps this defense. Again, we're not talking about Adoree Jackson as much because they have Quinyon that can travel from side to side. Last year, he played on one side of the field. This year, he goes in there and he plays against the number one guy and he follows him all over the field. It's a massive luxury for the Eagles.
It certainly is. Cooper DeJean might get all of the love, but Quinyon Mitchell has been maybe the best cornerback in the entire NFL. Let's talk about Eagles-Cowboys, specifically the offense. If they can't throw on this Cowboys offense, I'm sure we've said that in past weeks as well, but if they can't throw on this Cowboys offense, then is it ever going to come together?
I mean, look, they're going to play this game the way football is meant to be played, inside of a dome. So they won't have to worry they won't have to worry about the wind. They won't have to worry about weather. They can go out there and show us how good they are as an offense, and there's no better team to do it against the Dallas Cowboys. Their defense is atrocious. They are bad at basically everything. They have a pretty good pass rush, but outside of that, if you give Jalen time, he should pick this defense apart. A.J. Brown should have a big day. Devontae should make big plays. But of course, I'm hesitant to say they'll do it because all season we have seen the offense struggle. So this is a true prove-it game for the Eagles. The Lions was about proving you're among the toughest in the NFC, NFL, and they proved that. This Sunday is about proving to us that we don't have to be worried about this offense, because if you can't do it in Dallas, in that environment, in a dome against that defense, then I'm really worried.
You know, I think back to when Chuck Bednarik knocked out Frank Gifford, or when the gangrene defense went into, Chicago or whatever it might be, and I thought, yeah, we should have a dome.
It's how football's meant to be played, Pat. It's football at its best.
How do you think this game plays out then?
How can you pick against the Eagles? Look, I mean, we can sit here and paint a picture of why they'll lose. The Eagles always get lit up in Dallas. Dallas has played 4 home games this year. They've scored over 40 points in 3 of them. Do we think the Eagles can score over 40 points? Of course not. But will they find a way to win? Of course they will. They win all the time. Maybe it'll be low scoring. Maybe it'll be high scoring. I don't know. I just know when I cover the Eagles, after in the locker room, they're always celebrating a win. So I'm going to pick them to win the game, but it is a tough one for sure.
You worried about Dak, though, at all? A little bit?
Of course. Dak Prescott's playing like the best quarterback in the NFL right now, arguably. Now, he played a bad Raiders team last year, but still had, our last game, still had 4 touchdowns. So Dak's been really, really good, and he always lights the Eagles up in Dallas. Every time I'm in Dallas, it feels like that Cowboys offense is going up and down the field. So there is worry about that, but with the way the Eagles defense is playing, I'm going to trust that they can make enough stops to get the win.
You know what I'm not worried about? You giving us the goods. Eliot Shorr-Parks from 94 WIP. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thank you.